Back to Your Money Live. Well, Alex Jacquot is a budding businessman with soaring ambitions, and the 10-year-old is working towards something pretty big, requiring some expertise from one of Australia's most successful CEOs.
You see, here's the thing. Alex would like to start his own international airline, but unlike most kids, Alex wasn't content with just dreaming and talking about it. So over the school holidays, this very determined 10-year-old put pen to paper and wrote a letter to none other than Qantas CEO Alan Joyce.
Dear Mr. Alan Joyce, I'm Alex Jacquot, a 10-year-old boy. Please take me seriously, and I'd like to start an airline.
Alex told the high-profile businessman about his business plan.
I'm the CEO of the airline, which, by the way, is called Oceania Express. I've also hired a CFO, a head of IT, a head of maintenance, a head of onboard services, and a head of legal.
Enter Alex's mum, Natasha.
He actually had to hound me to send the letter, and I couldn't be bothered, and he went and found the stamp and put it on and made me take it to the post office. So I sort of dropped it in the post box thinking, oh, you know, I'm just doing it to appease him.
Much to both mother and son's amazement, it wasn't long before there was a letter in the mail from the Qantas CEO himself.
Dear Mr. Jacquot, thank you for letting me know about your new airline. I had heard some rumours of another entrant in the market, so I appreciate you taking the time to write.
And much to Alex's delight, the letter included an invitation to meet with Mr. Joyce.
At this meeting, we can compare notes on what it's like to run an airline. And I'd like to offer you a tour of our operations centre.
Well, to be entirely honest, he does these sorts of things all the time.
It's worth noting this savvy young entrepreneur reached out to other business leaders for mentorship. But, well,
I did write to the CEO of Virgin Australia, but they haven't written back yet.
Ouch. Do you think you'll hear from him now?
No.
So
Love
good.
the honesty from the
Me
mum
too.
as well.
Yeah,
And
he does this a bit.
well, isn't Virgin feeling like they're missing out, because that letter and Alan Joyce's response has gone viral. Here to discuss the value of topical actions, consumer psychologist Adam Ferrier is with us. Adam, we love the story. What do you think?
Yeah, I love it too. It's like a little window into the soul of Qantas and opening it up, and it's been fantastic for Alan Joyce and for Qantas. But I think what's really special or interesting about this is not the precocious and savvy little kid, but it's more Qantas's ability to react on brand and really understand what its brand stands for and use this as an example to communicate it.
Right, so Adam, do you think that this was an obvious way for Qantas to go? You know, is there a skill or a challenge in identifying these sorts of opportunities when they do come up?
It's a great question. I think the skill is understanding what your brand's about. So Qantas is the spirit of Australia. It's always been about entrepreneurialism, and it's kind of sponsored young entrepreneurs for a long time. It's also been about little kids and about the next generation, and all about kind of wrapped up together. This would have landed on Alan Joyce's desk, and somebody said, great PR opportunity, and I think they would have known instinctively that it ticks all the boxes. So the real trick here and the ability to act topically is to know your own brand really, really well and take advantage of these opportunities when they come up.
Adam, we do see brands try to, show that they have a heart once in a while. No, in fact, they always try to do that. We've seen recent examples, ANZ being one.
Yeah, that's right. So ANZ have done a fantastic job with the Gay Mardi Gras. They sponsored it 10 years ago. Bedazzling all of their ATMs and making them gay ATMs. They've now over time extended that, and now they're sponsoring every single Oxford Street across the whole of Australia, so that all people in rural communities and small towns and so forth who are gay can feel included. And again, that's ANZ really understanding their brand positioning and really being about inclusivity and kind of projecting that and staying with that message. And again, so it just comes back to understanding the brand. Another example, I don't know if we've got time to talk about, is CGU Insurance. It's all about, it's a small business insurer, all about ambition. And so what they've done is they've went and gone and painted a mural in the streets of Melbourne about the women AFL players and kind of using them to communicate ambition. Again, it's just about understanding what your brand stands for and then finding opportunities in popular culture to kind of leverage that. And the reason why it's so... Yeah, sorry, go mate.
Oh, I cut you off. I feel like that was going to be great. Adam, does the public have a pretty good sniff test when it comes to this? I mean, how important is it to be genuine?
Actually, look, to be honest, I don't think the public has got that great a sniff test. I think that letter to Alan Joyce, for example, may well be fabricated. I don't think it is, but I think it would be almost cooler if it was. I reckon what's great is that when big business, big corporations really understand their values and understand what they stand for and find opportunistic ways to kind of communicate that in a meaningful kind of way.
Yeah, you were going to say why you think things are so successful. That the example you gave, CGU. Does that cover it, or?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. And so then, as long as it's representing their brand, they can go into AFLW or into other areas of popular culture, and as long as it's communicating, in that particular case of CGU, as long as it's communicating ambition wherever they go, it will kind of make sense because they're small business insurers. What they want is to be ambitious, and therefore it kind of keeps on hitting the mark.
Yeah, it's interesting because we're going to speak later in more detail about this CU in the NT marketing campaign that the Northern Territory's been running. Someone's trying to get it banned. I mean, it's pretty crude and crass. Someone reckons it's the most genius thing because it sticks with the whole branding that the Northern Territory has kind of been doing for recent years. You get the front page of the NT News come up often. It's always cheeky and definitely naughty a lot of the time. Is this any different? I mean, what did you think of this one?
Yeah, for some reason, I think this is completely different. I think CU in the NT is just, I think it's just crass and silly, and it's not at all aspiration. There has to be a level of aspiration. It's very easy to get attention. You can drop your pants, or you can, you know, swear or do whatever and get attention. The hard thing is knowing what your brand stands for and making sure that that's portrayed all the time. And I don't think CU in the NT does that particular brand or the Northern Territory any justice at all, especially when it's got so much cool stuff about it. I'd be amazed if it's anything legitimate, if it's not just some kind of people on the side trying to get attention with a very, very base, cheap stunt.
Adam, we do sometimes talk to you about, you know, cheeky brands. That's kind of who they are, whether it's Skechers, I think we talked to you about last week, Hungry Jack's being another one, that sort of portray themselves in that cheeky sort of way. Do you think that it's possible for them to also do a heartfelt thing like Qantas is doing now, or is it too inconsistent with what they've presented up to date, you know?
I think the goal, whatever your brand is, if you're a small business owner, if you're a massive brand, find a way your brand communicates and stick to it. And then don't try to chop and change, and be consistent in your behaviours as well as consistent in your message. And I don't think enough brands or businesses spend the time to understand how is it that my brand behaves authentically. If you take the Qantas example, they normally advertise by doing big, heartfelt, emotional pulls, and, you know, kind of advertising that makes you want to cry. So having this cute little precocious kid and then the CEO writing a letter to him, it taps into the same kind of heartstrings. So knowing the tone of the brand and how the brand kind of consistently behaves all the time, I think is key to building a successful business.
So to put you on the spot, if you were Virgin Australia, knowing their brand and how they do things, if you'd gotten that letter from that kid, because he apparently wrote one to them, would they have executed it? Would they have executed any differently?
Look, I love this. Probably my favourite bit of the whole thing. Virgin Australia, Virgin Australia has to do something. They have to respond in a really cool, kind of provocative way. And if they don't, it'll be really, really disappointing. And Virgin Australia still has the mongrel about it, and you know, it's kind of try to go more up market lately. But I still think the Australian public see them as a challenger brand. And I think they have to take this opportunity and take it up to Qantas and see what they can do.
A bidding war for Alex Jacquot. I love it. That could be so good. Adam Ferrier, thank you so much for taking us through that one. We loved that today. Consumer psychologist and founder of Think-A-Bell. Cheers.
Cheers.